Thank you. Nice to be with all of you. My name is Randy Durband. I'm the CEO of the GSTC, the Global Sustainable Tourism Council, and I'm here with our Board of Director member and good friend, Koko Tang. Do you want to introduce yourself a bit?
Hi, everybody. Thank you very much, Randy. And I'm Koko Tang from China. I'm the founder of Colorful Earth and also a board member of GSTC. I also run a tented camps in China called Vine Train.
Tell us a bit about the camps. They're very interesting.
Yes, because we have actually 3 camps for now, and then the 2 of them are really located in southwest part of China and bordering Myanmar and Yunnan. So, and then we have actually integrate all of the GSTC criteria when we do the site selection and then design and also construction of the tenting camps. So one of the tenting camps is actually based in rice terraces, so it's also UNESCO World Heritage Sites. It's very beautiful. We have about 4,000 steps of the rice terraces in the Abundant City, Abundant Village. We actually put a tent on top of it, and also we have another tenting resort that Randy has been there before. So as in Gaoligo Mountain, which is very rich in biodiversity. So we use high-rise walkway, and then we put all of the tents on the elevated walkway to make sure that there's no damage on the ground floor. So we hide all of the pipelines underneath it to make sure that the construction didn't really destroy the ground floors.
Excellent. Good. And what brought you and Vine Tree to look at sustainability is one question, and then related to that, why GSTC? Was there interest in global standards particularly, or tell us, again, sustainability in general, your attitude about it as a business, and why GSTC?
Yeah, from the beginning of Vine Train, when we started, Vine Train is very, we cared about the nature because from the investment perspective, it's a long-term investment we're looking at to get the return in the long term. And also because we want to bring our customers very immersive experience. So we want to make sure that we have good community services and we have good relationship with the local communities. And this brought us the very important key questions about how can we do this. So sustainability, the core elements of sustainability is about environmental and social aspects. So that is very important. But we need to do it in a systematic way. That's why we need sustainability criteria standards. So when I searched online about how can I really get to know more about sustainability, and then how can we get a systematic change, and then we can adopt the criteria standards, that GSTC popped up. And then I find out the GSTC criteria is very comprehensive and very advanced, and we can actually adopt all of these standards when we do the site selection and build the camps. And that's why we start to learn GSTC standards and get to know a little bit more about GSTC.
Great. Did it help that we already had them translated into Chinese? Was that a positive?
It's very helpful, and because we also need to build capacity within our corporate, and most of our staff, they don't speak English, unfortunately, because they are local people, local ground staff. So that's why when we need to get the capacity building in Chinese and get them to know about the GSTC criteria, so why that's very important.
Are your clients a mix of Chinese and foreign?
10% of our clients actually foreign or expats, but most of them are not inbound guests. They are living in China, but 90% of them are still Chinese domestic.
Do you perceive your guests, both domestic and foreign, as interested heavily in sustainability, or a little bit? Is it growing?
I think it's a growing trend. At the very beginning, I think we are trying to kind of educating the customers about why sustainability is very important, why we build it up, integrate the sustainability into our core brand value. But then I realized that the more and the Chinese customers got educated, and then the more get to know why our core value and culture really relating to the sustainability, I think their understanding about sustainability grows dramatically, and they care.
Great. So that's how you came to us, through Vine Tree and your 3 tented camps. But then we've gone deeper, haven't we? And now we're developing a partnership where you've created a social enterprise that will really help spread the word about GSTC in China. Can you tell us about that, about why and what you intend to do with it?
Yes, because along with our relationship with GSTC, I find out that GSTC criteria is very helpful. And it's not just about sharing just within one organization. We probably need to promote to more people in the tourism industry in China to get to know more about how to build up sustainability management team, how to really integrate your strategy and within the sustainability, and then how to share our learnings and learn from each other, especially from our partners globally. So that's why I funded this social enterprise called Colorful Earth. The main purpose for it is trying to work with different partners in China and globally to share the knowledge about how to transit the tourism into a more sustainable way. So, and then I come to the GSTC because I think that's very important that we can actually build up the training, because training and knowledge sharing is very important. Before we get deeper into sustainability, we need to find out what is sustainability at all and how to define sustainable tourism. So instead of just greenwashing people, we need to know how to make sure that we understand the concept and then all of the elements of sustainable tourism. So that's why Colorful Earth is focusing on being the training partner of GSTC and trying to promote GSTC in a more holistic way.
And you've been working with us now for several years, and we've attended many conferences. Do you find these useful to you in terms of learning and networking?
I love the atmosphere, to be honest. I enjoy working with GSTC a lot. I love the people, and people are very friendly. And when I come to the conference, I realize that sharing is very important. Not just about the very well organized events. I actually learned a lot from listening to the panels and then joining the panel discussions, and learn from all of the audience as well, because the interaction between the audience and then the speakers are very intensive. So we can learn not just about the speakers talking about that point, and also we can learn some comments and even questions from the audience. That's very great.
Could you tell us in Chinese to your friends at home why you value GSTC and why Colorful Earth will partner with us? I shouldn't say will, is partnering with us. In Chinese, please.
Yeah, sure. GSTC 是一个非常棒的组织，然后我们可以通过 GSTC 对于可持续旅游的很多概念以及标准，系统性的学习为什么可持续旅游重要，以及怎么才可以在旅游行业去推广可持续发展和转型。所以通过跟 GSTC 的互动，通过参与这个 GSTC 的培训，以及通过获得 GSTC 认证，我们可以从不同的维度去真的去帮助企业在旅游方面去践行可持续旅游的实践。
Thank you. And as you know, I was involved, GSTC was involved with our friends at Huangshan, very important, iconic site in China, right? Very important symbol of Chinese history and culture, and it's been our honor to be involved with Huangshan for many, many years. And then through that, the government asked them to help create this China Mountain and Cultural Tourism Organization. So I've spoken with them many times. Could you tell us about, let's do it in English first and then in Chinese, how the China Mountain and Cultural Tourism Committee really appreciates GSTC and how we plan to work together more?
Yeah, Huangshan is a very important destination in China, and actually it is the only place that also have this diplomatic reasons for why it's very, very important. A lot of Chinese governors actually host diplomatic conferences and then to meet different people from different countries there. So Huangshan and also is a very first listed public tourism company in China, listed in just A-share stock exchange and also B-share stock exchange. So Huangshan is very important from the tourism perspective, and also Huangshan is as a founding member of the board member as well. I heard, and then we also had a conference in Huangshan back in 2016, right? So, and GSTC has been also often deeply working with Huangshan. And I think it's very important the Chinese destination get to know more about GSTC's criteria, because GSTC also have a criteria, the destination criteria. And as Huangshan, and we know that the government also wants sustainability development in tourism industry to be spread out in not just one province, not just one destination, but to all. And I think the reason why Rennie has been invited to speak to many conferences on the Mountain Cultural Association is because Huangshan want to also share their learning from GSTC to different destinations. And then importantly, we have this important association with all of different mountains, because they are very famous destinations in China, and all of them needs to know and needs to really to translate their traditional tourism pattern, sector pattern into a more sustainable way.
Great, thank you. And let's turn attention to hotels. China has national brands that are enormous, international brands that others in the world know about. Accor, for example, has a large presence in China, but China has big domestic brands of its own. Where are we going with that, and what do you see as the potential for helping them move more dramatically in terms of sustainable practices.
Well, yeah, that's true. China has many domestic brands too, and then when we call it domestic brand, it's probably funded in China, but it also has international presence. For example, Accor has its partner with Huazhu, and also Jinjiang has brought up some of the international brands too. So, and we know that Jinjiang is also known as one of the largest hotel groups in the world, and many different guest rooms. So, I know that they are under the pressure for now to transit into a more sustainable way, and in China, we have 30-60 carbon targets, and obviously we need to reach the carbon peak in 2030, and then to get carbon neutrality by 2060. That's our government target set for the carbon emission reduction, and also that's transit will actually pass on over the pressures to different hotel groups too, especially for hotel groups like Jinjiang, which is largely state-owned enterprises. So very importantly, they also have very strong social kind of responsibility as well in terms of being more sustainable. And also in another way that they're also under the pressure from the ESG disclosure perspective, because although in China ESG disclosure is still voluntarily, so it's not a compulsory requirement. But because Huazhu is also listed outside of China, it's listed in Hong Kong and listed in the US. So they also have this pressure to disclose their ESG report. When they want to disclose their ESG data, they need to make sure that all of the data are actually have a very good quality, and it should be holistic and systematic. And also they need the third-party assurance. That's why they want to make sure that align with the global leading criteria and understand that the strategy and the governing strategy is following the global practice, and that they want to close the gap between them and the other brands of international brands. So I think for the China hotel groups, they are catching up. So I'm actually interviewed. I have a column on the Bloomberg Green China, and I have interviewed the president, the chairman of Jinjiang Group, and then they already published or released several social responsibility reports starting from 2021. But they are going to release more comprehensive ES report by this year. So they care about sustainability now. It's not just about the compliance requirements, and they also want to do something matters to have this content actually, and in order to put it into the ES report.
Excellent. Let's shift to the traveler as my final question. We see globally that younger people are more motivated to push for sustainability. Do you think that's true in China as well? And is there a generational change about attitudes and motivation to affect change?
Yeah, I think most of the Chinese travelers, they care about environment. For them, sustainability might a little bit complicated to digest because there are so many different scopes and so many different aspects. So SDG has 17 different targets, but most of the travelers, they may not know every single one of them. But I think they understand that tourism can bring some negative impacts on the environment, especially over-tourism is a big issue in China too. So talking about just past Labor holiday, National Labor Day, and if you go to the Chinese tourism destination, is full of people. So we call it People Mountain, People Sea. It's very crowded. So people understand that tourism can bring goodness to the location and also can bring pressure and negative impacts to the environment and local communities. So the Chinese travelers, they understand the why it's very important, but they still need to be educated in a certain way about how to become a responsible traveler. So they know that maybe we do not just throw away rubbish and then do not use single-use plastic, and then that's part of sustainable tourism, but that's not all. So they need to understand how can they contribute to the environment conservation, and how can they contribute to the local community, and what's the best way. So that still needs all of the people to actually work together to spread out the word and to share the knowledge. And they also need the industry players like the travel agencies and the hotels to offer them sustainable tourism products so they can actually choose from.
Great. Thank you very much.